Now, today in Hong Kong, we have about 7 different frontline services working with vulnerable children, working with pregnant and at-risk youth, working with families, adopted families, birth families, foster families, and also working with the community. We collaborate across with many different partners in the community, providing training and education. But really, everything that we do exists to break this vicious cycle that we see at play across Hong Kong. Because we see that there are thousands and thousands of vulnerable families who don't have the extended family or friends or community neighborhood support that they need. And so when they face a crisis, a financial crisis, a relational crisis, when they face challenges or trauma, they don't have the support that they need. Their children are at risk of abuse, abandonment, and neglect. And many of those children end up in the residential care system in Hong Kong. But everything that we do at Mother's Choice really exists to break that cycle. And we really believe that it's possible, because when you have a family around you, your whole life can change.
I think my favorite part is that everybody can play a part to make a difference in somebody's life. One of the privileges that I have is welcoming Mother's Choice babies that are already adults back into our baby care home. It's really interesting to see that they want to know where they were taken care of. And their questions to me are always, who took care of me? Was I loved? And what happened to me while I was here is part of their identity, right? One of the stories that I have is a young man who came back, I think he was about 25. He was adopted to the United States, in the northern United States, where it was really cold, a cold place, and also very agricultural. So the city or the town that he grew up in was really small. And as we're walking around, looking at the children's beds, he noticed the blankets on each bed. And he said, you know, when I was a teenager, I was the only Chinese person in our community. And he said, very often I felt very different and alone. And as a teenager, all of my emotions were like, where did I come from and who loved me? And he said, but you had given me a blanket. I had my baby blanket. And he said, at my worst moments, I would get into my bed and I'd put that baby blanket around me, cover it up with a regular blanket so nobody would know I was having my childhood blanket. And I would say to myself, somebody loved me, somebody loved me. And for me, that person who made the blankets, she has literally saved somebody's life. And I find that with all of the volunteers and the workers at Mother's Choice, we see daily that we can really make a difference in somebody's life.
There's 3 things that students can do to be involved. The first thing that you can do is you can just educate yourself on what's happening. I really believe that there is so much talent and ideas, expertise, creativity among students in Hong Kong today. But when they don't know what's happening, it's hard for them to channel that to a good place. So we actually run info sessions every month. And I would really encourage students, you don't have to be a grown-up, you don't have to be an adult to learn more about the issues, because what you talk about, your voice is powerful. So come along to one of our info sessions, get educated on what's happening to children and young people in our city. The thing that I would say is you can give. We don't have an endowment fund, we get very little funding from the government. We really rely on even small gifts from ordinary people. And if you made a commitment to even give what would be your coffee money or your bus money every month for a year, you could really be making a huge difference at Mother's Choice, where every dollar counts. And the third thing that I would say is you can volunteer. We believe that young people have a voice that's powerful, and In many of the international and local schools in Hong Kong, we have something called the Youth Leadership Council, where we give young people the opportunity to work on some of our strategic problems, come up with solutions, and really invest their time and their energy as volunteers.